Clips, clips.
Man's gotta do what a man's gotta do. People say it, so it's true. And if they diss me, I'll fucking sue. Man's gotta do what a man's gotta do. Man's gotta do what a man's gotta do. People say it, so it's true. And if they diss me, I'll fucking sue. Man's gotta do what a man's gotta do.
Clips, clips.
Alrighty, YouTube's another one of Kips Clips, and welcome to the World Info.War News at 1 live, Monday to Friday, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, always, definitely, maybe, probably, always. So welcome to the World Info.War News at 1. Stop the presses, it's World Cup time. You're going to get little to no news for like a month from all sides. It's crazy and predictable. It's happened before. Most noticeably for me was Press TV. Press TV used to be guns a-blazing, Zionist this, Zionist that, telling you all sorts. And then the P5+1 deal started materialising and Press TV went like that. We're going to talk about trees. And that was the extent that they went to for some time. And Press TV, ever since they got reined in, haven't went ball deep, haven't yet, in my opinion, went back to as being as ball deep as they previously were, before they get thrown into line. But anyway, welcome one and all. Hope you appreciate the World Info.War News, a triple prong attack in the information war, an island of independence as the info war bullets are flying from all angles. So today, as always, the BBCs, the RTs, and the UK columns. The UK golem. So we'll have a wee look at those three independent news sources. UK columns full of independent journalists. They've got their own gang names. Yeah, they just made it up when they were all part of the UK column, and you best go and research the UK column, who the people are, where the money comes from, what non-party politically affiliated charities they're a member of, and the hymn sheet they're singing from. Well, claiming to be independent, and then when you go and trace all the money back, it's all Lord Farquhar this, Lord Farquhar that were a bunch of fucking Nazis. Genuine, bona fide fucking Nazis with like Hitler at their fucking, literally Hitler at their wedding and stuff. Maybe we'll go into a wee bit of that later on if we've got time. So welcome everybody in the chat. Thanks for joining. Chinny, Charlotte, Stewie, blazing in the eve, in the afternoon, one and all, and there's Rebel Against the Puppet Show. How you doing, buddy? Nice to see you guys and girls all in. Remember, thumbs it up, share it, friends, family, foes, help the channel grow. Patreon and PayPal buttons down below if you appreciate and get any value from any of the stuff I do. It's digital busking. Everything's available free of charge. I hope to do such a good job that people will want to throw in a couple of quid or whatever because they get value from what I'm doing. So I must be doing a shit job then. But mega thanks to everybody that does. Okie dokie, let's get on with the shit show. I think first protocol would be the BBC's, cause just kind of half out the corner of my eye, I've seen some bullcrap happening in the PMQs. Let's see if they cover it.
Angry scenes in the House of Commons this lunchtime as the Brexit debate heats up.
I order the right honourable gentleman to withdraw immediately from the House.
Amid heated exchanges, the SNP leader is expelled by the Speaker. And then the rest of his party's MPs walk out of the chamber. Earlier, Tory rebels had warned the Prime Minister.
That's all, folks. That's all, folks. A big bunch of elite scumbags pretending they're following some sort of a retarded legislation. Go and listen to PMQs. This thing is stuck in a fucking time warp. It's that whatever it is, whatever it has been, whether it's ever actually been productive or what it fucking is, says on the tin, it is null and void now. Listen to it. There is no genuine debate, and in the freedom of speech that we're meant to have in this fucking free country, there's also a rule book about what you can and cannot say.
Minister to stick to
Words you can and cannot use.
assurances she made about Parliament's role overseeing the terms of Britain's withdrawal.
This government will deliver on Brexit. This government will deliver a Brexit for jobs. This government will deliver a Brexit that is good for Britain.
We'll have the latest on a heated Prime Minister's questions. Also this lunchtime. President Trump says North Korea is no longer a nuclear threat as he returns from his meeting with Kim Jong-un. Dixon's Carphone admits a huge data breach involving nearly 6 million payment cards and more than 1 million personal records. Woo! On the eve of the first anniversary of the Grenfell Tower tragedy, we hear from survivors still waiting for a permanent new home. And excited to get started, England gets stuck into their first training session on the eve of the World Cup in Russia.
You can start getting for it now, really, now you're here.
Yes!
It's a good thing, so we're here another four days and then we travel and then play.
Wait, are you, man?
So, yeah, we're looking forward to it, we just want to get going now.
They hired me because I look like a fucking elf, you know, don't you know?
BBC News,
Spain
sacked manager Julian Lopetegui on the eve of the World Cup after he agrees to become the new manager of Real Madrid.
Oh man, it's the suspense is going to blast off!
Hello, good afternoon.
Hello,
welcome to the
good
BBC
afternoon.
News at
Welcome.
1. There have been angry scenes in Parliament in the last hour as the Scottish National Party's Westminster leader was ordered from the House of Commons by the Speaker. The SNP's other MPs then walked out of the chamber in a row about the way Scotland has been treated in the
SNP's
Brexit
other
process.
MPs.
It comes as Theresa May remains under pressure over key Brexit votes and how much say MPs will have in any final deal. Our political correspondent, Jonathan Blake, has this report on the day's events.
Absolutely. The whole point of this argument's just been lost in all the Brexit, innit? The Brexit is just like hot everybody and everybody's arguing about a bunch of bullshit.
Prime Minister.
Jeremy Corbyn accused the Prime Minister of reneging on a deal with her own backbenchers over how much say Parliament should have on a Brexit deal with Brussels.
How much more damage is the Prime Minister going to do to this country before she realises the important thing is to get a deal for the people of this country, not one to appease the clashing giant egos of her cabinet?
It's the Labour Party in opposition that are trying to frustrate Brexit.
Man, it's really hard to continuously listen to the same fucking drivel. They over there really stink. No. We may stink now, but we only stink because we absorbed the stink left over from this last Labour government. Well, that may be that you only stink because you absorbed the stink from the last Labour government, but the last Labour government only stunk because it absorbed the smell from the previous Conservative government! Here! Woo! Yeah, you got them there, bitch! Woo! Lay the smack down! Here! Yeah,
yes, well, that may be that the Conservative government, the Labour, the previous Labour government only stunk because they absorbed the smell of the previous Conservative government. But I put it to you that the previous Conservative government only stunk because it absorbed the smell of the previous Labour government. Here, here, here. Woo, yeah. Is anybody getting tired of this fucking argument? Does anybody see this? Does anybody, like, fucking actually bring up the fact that it's just their fault? Nah, their fault. No, their fault. Nah, their fault. What do you mean? You know what this is? This is like pass the fucking parcel of fucking who to kick in the balls. You know what I mean? You can't just get somebody to stand right in front of you with their legs open and going, it was me, kick me in the sack, I deserve it. No. It's always fucking pass the buck time. And here you have the theatre of the illusion, the illusion of choice. What fucking choice do you have here? What genuine debate about anything that fucking matters or anything that fucking out with the narrative, the allowed talking points, the allowed positions to hold, the allowed politics, the allowed fucking isms and the jism of the schism. Oh, God, oh fucking mighty. I don't know if I explained that well there, I think so. I only explained it well because I absorbed the smell from the previous Celtic fans. And whoo, you can tell with the smell with those bastards.
Brexit. It's the Labour Party that are trying to stop us getting a deal for the British people. This government will deliver on Brexit. This government will deliver a Brexit for jobs. This government will deliver a Brexit that is good for Britain.
Don't walk into the pillar.
Man, it's all just shit that's meaningless. We will Brexit. Good for the people. What does this actually mean? Hold on, does anybody actually want to talk about what the people actually, the dumbed down masses, voted for? We voted to bring back decision-making processes, sovereignty back into the UK. Why is this argument now getting moved?
Government has enough obstacles of its own to avoid at the moment. But the minister in charge of Brexit laughed off questions many are asking about a deal that may or may not have been done. Those keen for Parliament to have more say, and those who just want to get on with Brexit, both say it's a question of trust.
Well, the Prime Minister is very clear that we absolutely should trust her, and we do. And so we didn't have a chance because, as ever in Westminster, these things came.
Now, if Pinocchio, now we all know Pinocchio's a documentary. I seen it on Disney Channel. Hold on. Fucking hell, that's when you know you're going crazy. How can you lose something you had in your hand like literally 2 seconds ago? My glasses, I think I put them down somewhere and I can't fucking find them. Anyway, substitute. Oh no. Try in my pocket. Anyway, like now, we all know Pinocchio is the documentary, right? We've seen it on the Disney Channel and that shit is accurate. The Simpsons, Crystal Ball, Family Guy, these people predict the future, honestly. I read it in a Christmas cracker. It must be fucking true. Anyway, back to the nose point. Check out the schnoz on that. Seriously, give that thing a man's haircut. Voila. It's a dude. Not only a dude with an old grandad dude. I mean, if you got her sniffing whiskey for half a day, man, or a big red nose, she'd be like, Anyway. But if Pinocchio, we all know Pinocchio is a documentary, which means people with big fucking noses are liars. No wonder she's an MP.
Came down to the wire in the last 15.
Check that fucking thing out though. Would that not get in your... You'd constantly see something in the side of your eye, man. That would be distracting.
15 minutes before the vote.
I'm surprised she's not like Steve Martin in that fucking in that comedy film. Where he goes cross-eyed because he makes the wee bracket for the glasses.
He goes through the wording.
Because if that we all know that it's that film with Steve Martin, another documentary. Fucking fuck! I actually think that guy had a big nose too. Or was that another one I'm getting mixed up with? Anywho,
Pinocchio's a documentary.
In detail, but it was very clear. This is not just relying on assurances given in the House of Commons chamber. This is a personal assurance from the Prime Minister that she understands our concerns and wants to build them into the amendment.
There is some confusion over what concessions may have been given to the potential rebels over Law's Amendment 19, which was a wrecking amendment, the meaningful vote. But I've spoken in the since the vote with the Secretary of State, the Brexit Minister, Mr Baker, and the Dexit Whip, and their version of what concessions have been given to the potential rebels is somewhat different to what's appearing in the media at the moment.
So how to keep both sides happy? Ministers say yesterday wasn't the day to work out the detail, but time is short to come up with a solution that gives enough ground to those threatening to rebel, but doesn't upset those keen on a speedy Brexit. Today brought more Brexit-related drama in Parliament.
The reality of the situation is that powers that are enshrined under the Scotland Act in 1998 are being grabbed back by...
Right, now these are the Nazi bastards of the SNP.
Ian Blackford was thrown out after repeatedly challenging the Speaker to allow an emergency debate on devolved powers. Chaos in the Commons briefly. The Prime Minister stuck to her line.
That I cannot countenance Parliament being able to overturn the will of the British people. Parliament gave the decision to the British people voted to leave the European Union, and as Prime Minister I'm determined to deliver that.
Yesterday's near miss for the government showed again how divisions over Brexit within the Conservative Party, within Parliament and within government will mean difficult and delicate decisions at every stage. Jonathan Blake, BBC News, Westminster.
Well, let's get the latest from our assistant political editor, Norman Smith, who was watching those extraordinary scenes at Prime Minister's questions. Norman, I guess we take from all of this, this is still a Prime Minister hugely under pressure here.
Well, as if Mrs May didn't have enough on her plate here at Westminster over Brexit, now an entirely new headache in the form of the SNP, pledging this lunchtime to adopt a much more aggressive opposition to Brexit. This on the morning that Mrs May was already involved in a standoff with some of her pro-Remain rebels over what she did or did not promise, with warnings from them that unless she delivers on a compromise of a meaningful vote, then they will defeat her when the issue comes back to the Commons. And then, of course, this lunchtime, those extraordinary scenes when PMQ was pretty much brought to a standstill after the SNP's leader demanded that the Commons go into private session because of what he called the democratic outrage of the power grab by Westminster over Brexit, also attacking what he called the disrespect shown to Scotland by the fact that during yesterday's explosive debate, only 15 minutes were set aside for considering devolution and Scotland. And when he came out and spoke to me, Mr Blackford said he would now be fighting all the way the government's plans on Brexit. And you just sense when it comes to Theresa May and Brexit, it never rains but it pours. She's having to deal with the rebels in her own party, she's having to deal with the European Commission, she's having to deal with cabinet ministers speaking out. Now she's got the additional headache of the SNP on the rampage.
Norman.
That's where he and all the press are standing. It's the press lobby, I think is the best way to explain it. And from there you can see that for whatever rhyme or reason, magical reason, and all this, the sacred geometry that's encoded in all these buildings, and the power that it doesn't, appears to, believes to, who the fuck knows, gives these bastards. There's the Star of David that they're all standing on in the press lobby. Woo, woo, woo. Well, pretty. You start seeing all these symbols everywhere. But anyway, like on your tea.
Thank you, Norman Smith. Well, the government may have seen off that Commons defeat on the EU withdrawal bill, but there is, as we've been reflecting, still a long way to go to the end of the Brexit process.
And again, Brexit is just a load of Brexit now. Nobody is actually talking about the simplicity, the basic principle which the British people voted for before it got hijacked with both sides getting hijacked with all forms of scumbaggery. it's getting used by everybody. It's getting used by lots of people for lots of opposing agendas and stuff. But the principle of the stopping of the centralisation of power and bringing it back to the UK, that should have been, that concept should have been, what should be? People that voted for Brexit should remember why they voted. And unfortunately it was wrapped up with brown cunts, immigration and fucking Nigel Farage, or fucking NHS, all forms of fucking stupidity. But when you broke it down to people, what they wanted to stop was all these stupid ass laws getting imposed on us by an outside source. Now, this was the same feeling within the vast majority of people before we started talking about the retarded laws getting imposed on us by the European Union. Before that, it was just our government imposing lots of stupid retarded laws, but there was no voice in the wilderness going, we don't have to put up with this. The law of the land is the will of the people. Because if it's against our will collectively, then we don't put up with it. And the laws go away, get fucking cancelled, or don't get fucking lived up to. So, the law of the land is the will of the people. Now, the reality is the will of the people has been obfuscated, manipulated, wrapped up in tits, fanny, football, bread and circuses, brown cunts and boats coming to get you! All forms of fucking retardationists. But again, strip it back down to what the want and the people, the want, the feeling, the want, the primal desire that is getting used, propagated in people and manipulated upon is that desire not to be in bondage, to not have unseen entities that you can't touch, you can't strangle, you can't kick in the balls, you can't point at them, you can't laugh at them, you can't fucking give them a smack. Outside forces imposing shit on you that fucking annoys you, does your tits in, and you don't agree with. But you feel so disempowered, and there's nobody out there steering that energy in any way productive. Nah, pissed off at the system? Go and shout at a football team every Saturday. Or, pissed off at the system? Go and pray to God. Sure, he'll fucking save you one day. Pissed off at the system? Here's a bottle of whiskey. Knock yourself out. Not going to really defeat the system lying in fucking gutters, fucking steaming at your face, are you? Sick of the system? Oh, here's a big massive fucking joint. Go and get stoned and think about how you're going to change the world. Don't actually do it because you're just sitting there fucking pie-eyed doing fuck all. But yeah, you'll think, at least you'll think about it, you know. Again, weed makes you amazing in your head. Makes you think you know everything. You might. Sitting there like that, hey man, I do everything, man. Well, every other form of drug as well. Out there to sedate us and make us useless human beings, not to give us any time to actually think about this stuff logically, never mind the time to organise ourselves into collectively thinking this way and taking our ball back, our power back. We're all sedated, separated, penned into our own wee fucking living quarters. In fact, they were even so scared of the family unit that they've started to design the society of domesticated humans, whereas in the future, predominantly everybody will be living in their own small little cubicle. Nobody will be able to handle being in a family unit because your mum and dad will do your tits in. And Childline's told you you don't need to put up with that. Childline, my mum and dad's annoying me. Come and help me. You don't mean the fucking Childline there to help children. It's there to destroy the family unit. It's there to put the state between the child and the fucking parents. And that doesn't... oh man, in the UK's culture, it's so much more far gone. And again, this isn't me watching a YouTube video and rhyming and fucking repeating it. first-hand evidence of, like, for example, just seeing Polish family units, right? Like, to me it seemed like, whoa man, like fucking child abuse or something. And then after overtime and stuff, I thought about it and understood what was happening. Right, I'll give you an example. The kids are being brats, and the mum, the grandmum or the dad or whatever will turn around to the kids and go, right, get out of the house, go and find somebody else to look after you and stuff. You know, like whereas in the UK, the kid would be straight onto the fucking child line and you would get your kids took off you for, like... No, they weren't really going to send the kids away to strangers or play with the traffic or Maggie Murphy's, as my mum and dad used to say to me, or anything like that. It was just kind of idle, kind of mind games with kids to get them to toe the line, right? Stop being like little brats who think they can get everything they want. Like, I don't know. I think it has to be a certain level, not so much a discipline, just the kids understanding that what adults say at some points, go. End of. And that, like, I've found over my time the best way of doing that is by the tone. And I've got a very good varied tone of voice when I'm speaking to kids, and it's all about how you come across, in your body language and all that shit as well. It's not about having to fucking hit them, put a collar around them, anything like that. But you definitely need to indicate to them there are certain points that you do have to listen, not sit there and if buts or maybes. Like, it's either listen or you don't, and you might fucking walk into traffic. Do you know what I mean? And it's for the benefit of the kid. But that's gone, man. Like that the parents are now in fear to bring up their kids the way they want, thinks right, and the fear of society judging them as being bad parents. Anyway, I digress.
Yes. Chris Morris from our Reality Check team looks now at the next steps.
The EU withdrawal bill is the domestic legislation that will formalise the UK's exit from the EU.
This is me overcomplicating very simple matters. They govern by consent, and then they take our consent and shag us up the arse with it. And then tell us we should love it, because we consented to it. You love this. And then they like kinda waffle. This is 1984, this is newspeak. It does the stuff that they're talking about now is irrelevant to the point of the story. Brexit. Discuss. And what are they discussing? MPs having fanny fart fights with each other? Anyway, I can't watch this shit.
By October, ideally,
Pink Lady had some...
We need to watch this.
Chris Morris there on the next steps. President Trump says North Korea no longer poses a nuclear threat and is no longer America's most dangerous problem. He tweeted the comments this morning on his return from his meeting with Kim Jong-un in Singapore. The US Secretary of State Mike Pompeo is now...
And look, man, world peace is just breaking out just in time for the World Cup. Isn't that beautiful? Look, we're going to have fucking peace, love and happiness, and for 1 month... Fun and we're going to have world bliss.
Seoul to explain the agreement to South Korea. There's flash photography in this report from John Donnison.
Tetsuit! Oh no, I know that kind of flash.
North Korean state television.
BBC! British state television! I need to say our presenters are a little bit sexier, although for some people that might be just be exactly what they're after.
And this morning, the woman they call the Pink Lady had some triumphant news. The United States, she said, had agreed to stop joint military exercises with South Korea and also lift sanctions.
Are her eyes really that slanty, or is she just looking down and reading a script? It's hard to tell. It looked like her eyes were genuinely closed, but obviously she's got slanty eyes, but then if she's looking down as well, it would make her eyes look shut, and they just look shut to me. But I don't know, like, maybe in North Korea, the television etiquette isn't to look into the camera, it's to close your eyes and bow.
In the official agreement signed in Singapore, there was no mention of either of those concessions. President Trump has since said he's not ready to lift sanctions yet.
Oh. So the 4 things they've agreed on are pretty watered down stuff. It's not a what do you call it? It's not a treaty or anything, it's just, you could say it's like window dressing. Just in time for the World Cup.
But he later confirmed yesterday's somewhat out-of-the-blue announcement that the so-called war game...
Oh, hold on. I'm having a wee flashback. Let me see if I can find it. I think it'll be worth it. For the effect, it will be worth it. Peace, love, and happiness, and do 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 do. We're together. Peace, love, and happiness, and do 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 do. Right. Yeah, Tony Blair and Gandalf here. I don't know what's going on here. Oh yeah, this is the one I was looking for, 2011. Oh, it was such a beautiful day for peace, you know, I remember it well. Me and my mother had to run out to the pet shop and collect 1 million doves. You know, we had to just join in with the peace and harmony and the hum of the world at that point. I mean, the BBC and STV and all the media were telling me that peace had broke out in Libya, and I was like, oh, that's all I've ever wanted for Christmas was peace in Libya. Weirdly enough, that's all I ever wanted for Christmas. And oh man, it was so fucking great. Here's another couple of very, very interesting points. Let's see if I can find this. Be interesting if I can find it. Do 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 do. Cips in there, Iran. Oh man, beautiful. I've been looking for that clip for ages, not been able to find it. Right, now the same MO is getting rolled out here worldwide, man. North Korea is just another one of them, man. Right, what you have on the surface is all Mr. Whitey's arguing with each other. Putin's in on it as well. Shh. All Mr. Whitey's on the surface arguing with each other. And then under the undercurrent, what they're doing, which they've done for centuries, because, well, by whose and by, it looks like the old world order cabal are very good at what they do, very cutthroat, and very good at carrying this shit out without people having an idea what's really fucking going on. I'd point at Libya. And what Gaddafi done and thought was happening, and then later the guy just rocked up and got a gun shoved up his ass. Trigger pulled. Sarkozy like that. What money, Gaddafi? Anyway, I digress. P5 plus 1 deal. What was the first thing? What was one of the first things? Let's see if we can put a date on this. August 2016, Al Jazeera credit card service launched in Iran. Right? Man, the first fucking thing that happened is they move in the usury. Boom, shakalaka, Iran's already got by the balls. All we Iranians are now running about in fucking debt. Oh shit, I'm in debt now, I'm fucking even more of a debt slave. Thank you, Iran. And then, oh, this is him here. List of ambassadors to, I don't know, get to him. Sir Richard Dalton. This is the guy, the British diplomat that worked in Libya to set up the Gaddafi sting. Shakalaka, they got what they wanted in Libya. This was, I think he had something to do with Iraq as well. I think he was in Iraq as well. Now this guy, he's in Iran. So they're doing in Iran what they've done to Libya, and North Korea's getting the same shit done that get done to Libya as well. All smiles and handshakes and promises. Just give us your big bag weapons and it'll make it easier for us to come in and knock the shit out you at a later date. Sorry to be sceptical about this, but you know how Trump's just delivering on his promises and all that. But there's a wee video blast from the past if you want to go and refresh yourself on some information that nearly 2 years ago, man. How time flies. But very worthwhile points, I would argue, and important ones. But anyway, if you fancy it. So let's get on with the BBC's again. Sorry about that.
Joint military exercises with South Korea. Would Korea, he tweeted.
Nearly all of them, 5.8 million of them, selling this deal, explaining to South Korea what is part of it, and also about what is the next step. Now, devices retains its missiles to launch them, and it
system started back in July last year, but it was only last week that they uncovered it. And yes, they think that the hackers may have gained access to details of 5.9 million payment cards used in Curry's PC World and Dixon's travel stores. Now, nearly all of them, 5.8 million of them, were chip and pin cards, and those systems haven't been breached, so they say no problem there. There were 105,000 cards, mainly probably from American customers using them in Dixon stores, which weren't protected by a chip and pin, but the company says no evidence to date of fraud there. And then separately, there were another 1.2 million personal data records, not payment information, but things like name, address, email address. That kind of information can be useful in things like phishing attacks, where you get to where they try to trick you with emails. Again, Dixon says no evidence of fraud to date, but this is incredibly embarrassing for the company. Its systems shown to be vulnerable. We had an incident where Carphone Warehouse, when the two companies were separate, was fined £400,000 for a previous data breach, and the Information Commissioner, the regulator, is already looking at this and could be pretty stern.
All right, Rory, thank you.
Oh, right. Why don't you dictate to companies that they can't hold all in one place, fucking identifying information? Why don't they have an opt-in or out for companies? Like, here, you're doing business with somebody. Do you mind not keeping a track of my fucking details? Thank you very much. Oh, but we're only doing it for your benefit. No! Doesn't seem to fucking be anybody's benefit other than fucking hackers and you pricks. Anyway, but that's corporate fascism. You don't have a say in this shit because these people buy and pay for your politicians, not us. Anyway, that was Dixon's Carphone Warehouse.
Thank you, Rory Keffin-Jones.
Fired into Saudi Arabia. That's been denied, as they describe it.
Food aid, which is vital for more than 7 million people.
Saudi assault in the port city, that port city there. Here's a man sitting hundreds of miles away in Beirut, but he's closer than us, so we'll go to him to hear what he's going to say, which he got fed to him on a bit of paper.
Warning that it could
all right there, troops.
Catastrophic. It even worse, because it's not just about the hack.
I wonder if he's from the satanic epicenter of the world, you know, according to David Scott, who stays there too. And according to David Scott, the satanic paedophile epicenter of the world is the northeast of Scotland. And David Scott, Northern Exposure, it's just a name he made up. It's a name he made up. There's nothing really, it's just a name he made up to give an ear of independence when he's part of the UK column gangbang. And the guy isn't without a penny or two and believes that the Scots are descendants of the 12 tribes of Israel. True fact. You just need to go and ask him. I did.
Describing this as potentially a turning point in the conflict, which will break the stalemate of 3 years of war and perhaps force the rebels to the negotiating table.
Martin, thank you, Martin Patience. It is 18 minutes past 1, our top story this lunchtime.
Oh God,
angry scenes in
tenancy agreement for their Grenfell flat.
Grenfell, whitewash.
The team was met by 4.
Then we get on to football. Now let's see the Waterdown Russia Today, which is pretty much going to be 100% football.
Headlining right now, there's just one day left before teams from all around the globe start to compete in Russia's 2018 World Cup. But one winner's already been announced as FIFA chooses who will host the tournament in 2026.
So we have a winner. The member associations of Canada, Mexico and USA have been selected by the FIFA Congress to host the 2026 FIFA.
Can we fast forward this for some weird reason?
RT's top pundit for this year's World Cup, Manchester United manager.
As well, saying, quote, beyond the emotional toll on families and communities, homicides between 1996 and 2015 robbed the country of...
Well, I don't think there's going to be RT today, sorry about that, I've just fucked up the stream.
Some analysts believe that an even greater increase in homicides in Brazil could occur if the country elects a far-right presidential candidate from the Social Liberal Party.
Look at the people that RT hire, man. It's quite scary. Hold on, I'll show you. There's this guy's a known villain. I'll do my Dallas goals. I'll do my Dallas gold. Dallas Gold Bug stuff again. His name is Vigo. And honestly, I mean, there's look. It's boom-proof fucking evidence, people. It's Vigo for Ghostbusters 2. Without a shadow of a fucking doubt, check that out. That is some freaky ass shit. Oh, look at him there. It's fucking the same guy, look! And some of them he's even got glasses on, look. If he had glasses on in that one, that'd be him. Vigo. Anyway, that's Dallas Gold Bug. Facial recognition software. Right now. Sorry about the lack of RT, guys, but pretty much was. Hold on. What did they do? This is from either 10 or 11 o'clock. World Cup stuff. Trump in North Korea. Then went back on to World Cup stuff. But you can't really blame them. The World Cup's in Russia, you know what I mean? But I'm just pointing out. Stop the presses. It's football time. Right, but what we can do is have a wee skip through. Oh, that's what I wanted to show you. Do you want to see how Hostonia and myself became an island of independence in the Info-War? There's Vote Us Not Them. The 2 general elections are held, and mine and others' declaration of independence. And that's how you do it. It's you can't be an anarchist and be part of a collective. You can't be a statist and ask the state for permission to be free. You can't be a sovereign human being and obey other people's laws. I mean, they've got people basically trapped in a prison in their mind, believing that they can't be free, but by just being free and acting it. And they've got people believing that anarchy is something you need to learn how to do, or what have you. Anarchy is pure. And it's just the belief that you are your own decision-making process, for lack of a better way of fucking saying it. Decision-making process. Fucking all up there. Anyway, but it's just a prison of our mind. So in the afternoon, one and all, let's go and have a wee shifty at the UK columns. See what they're saying to it today.
Good afternoon, it's Wednesday the 13th of June 2018, just after the clock. Welcome to UK Column News. Your host today, Mike Robinson, myself, Brian Gerrish. We're also joined by Alex Thompson with Eastern Approaches, and of course
with Eastern Approaches. Eastern Approaches is nothing. It's a name that oh fuck. Ah, shit. In fact, it's a book about the original James Bond, if I'm not mistaken. It's the book that was written by the real James Bond. I might be getting some of the details wrong, but go and research it. Like, with regards of it being an independent journalistic outlet of a man who's been a journalist for some time or anything. It's a name he made up when the UK column asked him to come on board, and he's ex-GCHQ. Ex-GCHQ, a Northern Irish guy, and ex-Navy ginger. Double whammy with him. Ex-Navy and a ginger. And Big Mike Robinson here, if he lost a good few £100, he wouldn't look out a place in a Tommy Robinson rally. Something that these guys absolutely, if you wanted to ever know their agenda, watch their Monday to this show Wednesday and look at their lack of journalistic ability to approach, to point at what happened at the Tommy Robinson rallies. See if that was a group they wanted to demonise, and they had all those videos that are doing the rounds on the interwebs of those fucking marauding fucking Tommy Robinson army. They would have shown it. See if there was a crowd of brown people out en masse like that, shouting for the release of fucking Abu Hamza. What do you think would have happened? What do you think the Tommy Robinson army would have pointed and said? Like, fuck Sharia law. They want Tommy's law. Aye. All we do is need to fucking get enough likes on Facebook and we should let people out of jail. Fucking makes perfect sense. Tommy's law. Aye, like fucking hell, they don't want the rule of law. They want Tommy's law. They want mob rule, to be honest with you.
Of course.
Because they are the
Alex
mob. Anyway.
Reporting from the very lowlands of the Netherlands.
Well,
Trump.
Yes, well, let's
the lowlands.
Come back to Trump and Kim. After Kim left to head back to North Korea yesterday, Donald Trump gave a press conference where he surprised a few people by announcing that the United States would end the war games that were planned for South Korea. Apparently to the...
I can see my face in fucking Trump's balls. They're so fucking shiny now. Thank you, Mike.
The disappointment of the Japanese, but anyway, that's beside the point. He said, we'll stop the war games, which will save us a tremendous amount of...
Is this a real quote or one she's just made up and put in quotation marks? It's hard to tell, the UK quote.
Of money. Plus, I think it's very provocative. He said that he was, it was ridiculous the amount of money that was being spent flying U.S. bombers from Guam up to South Korea for these war games and sending them back again, really having achieved not very much. He said that they've got 32,000 soldiers in South Korea. He wants to be bringing them home as quickly as possible. And as you would perhaps unsurprisingly, this has had the usual responses. So people pretty upset about what's been going on yesterday and the day before.
So again, if you can't spot the pro-Trump propaganda coming from this drivel of an exclusive independent journalist. Now remember, they're independent. That's why they give themselves all made-up gang names. Also, Brian Gerrish, although he's independent, is a former colleague of David Icke and a former colleague of who's Mr. Toad? Ian R. Crane. They I can't remember the name of the TV channel, but they've done a TV channel together. This was before the scam of David Icke's The People's Voice. And again, if you look at these people, where they come from, the shit they talk about. Now, I don't say this to annoy people, but I know it does annoy a lot of people, right? Whatever conclusion you come to about whatever is, honestly, it's really cool with me. My belief right now is a lot of things are cleverly created hoaxes. Oh God, I'm going to use that word, but in a different context, for lack of a better way of explaining it. For example, chemtrails. It's a very clever magic trick, because people can look up, verify they're there, and then anybody who says chemtrails aren't real, and they go, oh, I see them with my own eyes. right? Without, like, hold on, you actually need to think what those things are that you're seeing and look at the fucking spectrum of explanations, come to your own conclusion. And when you, and I don't know, when I investigated both sides, or in fact more than both sides, a lot of fucking different explanations as to what we can all verify with our eyes, which commonly get called chemtrails, and a lot of people have a pre-programmed connotation what chemtrails are. That's a very cleverly crafted magic trick. Something that's there. And I believe a lot of these subjects have been put out there to suck us in. To suck us in. Now, I don't know. Anyway, I'll come back to
I beg your pardon. We had Mr. Trump breaking in there. How did that happen?
Oh, that's what I was going to say. Brian Gerrish at one point is out there doing a presentation, and you won't find, I don't know, I would argue that you won't no longer find Brian Gerrish talking about chemtrails. Very rarely. Because by this point, people who really seriously have an investigative mind and look into this stuff and genuinely investigate all options, most people, I would argue, and a lot of people I know that have investigated thoroughly both sides, can then now understand what they're visually seeing with their eyes, which are commonly known in the conspiracy world as chemtrails. And Brian Gerrish does a presentation, and he hangs about with all that AV9 mob who talk about some real bizarre conspiracies, what I believe to be carefully crafted manipulation tools, and then they'll present to you AV, and everybody's telling something. Everybody's a wee bit different. You get this guy over here talking about goblins, this guy over here, you've got the nice wee English gent, you've got fucking Mr. Toad, you've got the American guy, you've got all these different characters to fucking suck different people in. But if you watch them over a prolonged period of time, not only can you see the network where they cross-promote each other's bullshit continuously without putting a thorn in each other's side too drastically. Maybe a wee bit of fake drama between Alex Jones and Mark Dice when he stopped selling him his book until Mark Dice busts his back. But, man, when you see Brian Gerrish up there, who's meant to be an intelligent man, trying to pass off the chemtrail pish, you're like, you can see these people for what they really are. Look into the money. Look into the British Constitution Limited, British Constitution Group. Go and look what they're all about. Go and look into their members, their founding members, and then they derived from the group that was called the British Constitution Association back in the very early 20th century. Anyway, and look at the people that were involved, all the lords that were involved in the setting up of this, and what you'll find is they were the British people that were Nazis and shit. I mean, like, people that genuinely went to, like, had Hitler at their wedding and shit. I was looking at this earlier on. I'll see if I can get it.
So we've got The Independent here reporting Trump's explanation for stopping North Korea war games ridiculous, says top Republican senator. A whole host of people commenting on what happened. Seeing US flag alongside North Korea's was disgusting, says ex-CIA official. So clearly the warmongers.
Right. Now, this is the British Constitution Association. My argument is this is the group that led to the British Constitution. Because if you go and look what they're saying, what they stand for, their principles, the things they use to tickle people's balls and ovaries to change the political discourse, it's identical. So the similarities, names, agendas, and what they talk about leads me to the conclusion that it's the same group of elitist douchebags behind both groups. Now let's look into this. 1905 it was. Almighty man. In 1905, pressure group to oppose increasing state regulation. Right? Sound familiar? Sounds exactly like the rhetoric you get out the truth or industrial complex in America. Oh my god, thirsty. And again, sorry, my argument here is this is rhetoric. It's populism rhetoric that's designed to tickle the balls of the masses by elites douchebags for them to change the political landscape the way they want it. So it's elite rich people using very cleverly crafted language which tickles the balls of the work and ovaries of the working class to change the political landscape the way the elite douchebags want it. And the elite douchebags aren't going to go, here, it's all for our business interests. They're going to go, no, it's for the benefit of the workers. Right, now, here's the information, please. I'd encourage people to go and just read about these people. Put it into the collage of information that you've got. Right, whether from the Liberal parties, New Liberalism, or Joseph Chamberlain's proposal for tariff reforms. And again, it's left, right, double barrel bullshit. Rich elite people arguing about who knows best how to manage the masses. There is no working class person looking out for the working class in this process. And again, this is 1905. And what do you have now? You have liberalism is a disease. Liberalism, find the cure. I'm not agreeing with one side or the other's politics. Far from it. I'm pointing out the pattern that's in this British Constitution Association more than 100 years ago. And I'm arguing it's the same shit we're getting in the whole truther industrial complex. Now, other people would argue, including people in the truther industrial complex, they would say elite scumbags, I don't know, take a wee read of that list there, we'll go into it in a wee second, like Lord Farquhar's, I don't know, stick a wee Lord Balfour into the mix and everything, sprinkle a wee bit of Lord Balfour on it, that genuine, bona fide fucking Nazis, and the Truther Industrial Complex would tell you that elite douchebags plan these things out, not in 10 years, not 50 years, 100 years, 200 years time. That was founded in 1905, 100 year plus later, 110 years later. Look where we are. Look at the rhetoric. Now let's see if we can see the similarities to what Alex Jones, or the UK column, and every other one of these talking fucking pie holes in the Truther Industrial Complex is talking about. And go and read into all this shit. It's a hell of a... See, if you don't suspend disbelief, you read each wee bit, think about it, put it into the fucking... your own mosaic of information, rather than reading it the way that the fucking robots want you to read it. You need to dissect it, slowly digest it, and analyse each little point, and if but maybe we'll kill the association with that. Anyway, that's what I believe. Like I'm pretty sure that's the process of writing your own book. I just don't have the fucking know how to do that shit. His first president was Lord Hugh Cecil. Now, if there's any weight to what I'm saying and the similarities to the populist rhetoric that these morons were saying to get the political change that they wanted to protect their business interests at the end of the day, that's all it was. That is still not getting done today, but yet we, the little man, we're getting our balls tickled by Alex Jones, who makes us think we're fighting for the small guy. When this whole plan started over 100 years ago, implemented, and one of the presidents was one of the guys that was instrumental in the signing of the Balfour Declaration as well. And you see it perfectly fitting in. You see how this whole mirage scam, oasis. The oasis, that's the best word for the Truffaut industrial complex. It's an oasis. You think it's a fucking mecca, but literally it's just somebody's pissed in a fucking can to bring you in to slurp up their pish in a desert, in a dry desert. It's a good analogy, isn't it? Right? And again, don't come to the same conclusions that I'm coming to, but here are the bullet points that are in my mosaic that allows that paints the Truffaut industrial complex to me. Check my Skypes. I'll bounce into that later. Its supporters include the constitutional experts, right? And this is the same MO you've got over in America, isn't it? So all your people that are pointing to the Constitution and using the Constitution to promote their political will. Now, yes, they use very good language that you can't really agree with because it's all freedom and love and but what I think we're naive to, and certainly a lot of us in the Truffaut industrial complex at the beginning are fucking naive to, is the fact that it's pretty much legalese. It's a bunch of lawyers using flowery fucking language, arguing ambiguous grey areas, points of law, and law is the thing that is fucking enslaving us all. But yet they're trying to use the law and their arguments within law to change the political landscape. Right, so go and take out a look at some of these people. Lord Avebury, Lord Courtney, Lord St. Lo, Statue. Right, here's an interesting guy, Thomas Mackay. Right, he's an Edinburgh boy, educated, Oxford, up in Perth. Oh, that would be the satanic centre of the universe, according to David Scott. He was educated that in New Oxford College. What did I want to show you about here? Oh, yeah. Right, let's see if you can spy let's see if any of this language rings a bell with anybody. He criticised old age pensions because he believed he would harm the character and advocated reducing the encouragement to pauperism held out by our present system of outdoor relief by restoring independence. Also, Mackay did not favour a compromise between individualism and socialism. Those who talk of compromise seem not to realise that the kneel of the period of compromise has sounded. We are all following under tyranny. Right now, it's like dictators arguing about what dictatorship is best. They're obviously going to point to the other dictator and go, he's a tyrannical dictator, I'm going to be a good one. Nobody's talking about fucking stop getting thing. A dictatorship is nothing more than a state that pretty much dictates everything to you. That's what we've got worldwide. There is no freedoms. The government is expected to lay down the law about everything. But anyway, more absolute and unrelenting than anything the world has ever seen. And this guy was kicking about between 1849 and 1912. And there he's there sounding like Alex Jones. Now, let's see. Maybe this guy was the Alex Jones of his day, let's see. Don't go and look into the person that started the Albert Pike rumour and the New World Order and Illuminati regurgitation. Don't go and look into that person. He was the Victorian Alex Jones of his day. Long forgot his name. You'll find it on my channel somewhere under Albert Pike hoax. Talking about the bullshit, crap conspiracy shit that was spun about Albert Pike. Not that he wasn't a real guy, just all the shit that came out about him. Fucking all these predictions using words that didn't exist yet. But anyway, let's say this Mackay guy might have been the Alex Jones of his day. Bearing in mind he comes 100 years before Alex Jones. Let's have a look at some of his publications. The English Poor. Oh, right, so that's populist rhetoric, isn't it? Because there's more poor people than rich. And he's a rich guy saying very popular things. And they're popular because he's talking to the masses. And what he's doing is he's going like to the poor people. Yeah, poor cunts. You can't have any of my money, don't be stupid. I want armies and walls and banks and shit to fucking fence my wealth off from you scum. But I'm going to give you an extra couple of crumbs that fall off the table. Right? So he's kind of the Alex Jones of his day. A Plea for Liberty, 1891. I mean, it's literally like Alex Jones. The Joining of Issues, Economic Review, People's Banks. People's Banks. 1894. Telling you how bad the system of money is, while sitting there all along planning the future of the monetary system. Sound familiar? Thank you, Alex Jones. Remember Alex Jones used to talk about the banks? Or did he? He did, didn't he? I'm pretty sure he did at some point. He used to say banks were bad at some point. Now it's just Trump cock sucking 24/7. Imperialism in politics. Old age pensions. So back then they couldn't blame the Browns or whatever. Fuck knows who they're blaming, but we'll blame the old people. Politicians and the poor law. Methods of social reform. The state and charity. History of the English poor law. Public relief of the poor law. The mandible. Right. Hopefully you can see what I'm trying to say there. The guy was son of a colonel. He was a member of the bar. Right, and he left. He wanted to get into the wine. Campaign for liberalism. Modern day, maybe more of the back the day Ron Paul guy. Maybe he's more Ron Paul, one of the people feeding Alex Jones, the spin doctor, car salesman. So maybe more of the Ron Paulish type, because he was a member of the bar and all that, so he would have been highly thought of. And again, just go and look at some of these people. Illuminati. That's all I need to say, Illuminati. Right, but there was an Egyptologist, John, British journalist. Maybe he was the Alex Jones. Radical British politician. Maybe he was the Nigel Farage of the 100 years ago. First Baron. Oh yes, what? Liberal politician, and he went round the world stealing poor people's things and went, hey, I'm educating these black people by stealing their shit. I'm teaching them how to be fucking robber barons. British jurists and constitutional theorists. So, just something I wanted to throw in the mix. That's 2:15. I'm rambling on far too much.
Not terribly excited about what Trump did yesterday.
That because they lost 10 to 20% of their population in a horrendous.
Eastern approaches, Lam Darag. Go and stick those names into your Googles and see what comes up. Not a lot. This is Casper the Ghost, the ex-GCHQ independent journalist on the UK column.
Part of the city's agenda, and we had John Glenn, MP, speaking at this event. He said this.
So all systems go, John Glenn.
Facilitated by the Family Rights.
Well, the significance of our report today on Melanie is that most people would normally only serve half their prison sentence. So she was sentenced to 2 years. She should have expected to have been out after 1 year. We're now approaching the 2-year mark. She spent over 18 months in solitary confinement. And at the moment, nobody knows what's happening to Melanie Shaw. Now, Alex, you've got a very interesting document here that's been sent asking key questions about Melanie.
This is a follow-up to the same viewers' questions to the prison, to...
Now, In my humble opinion, the UK column has used this poor girl as cannon fodder, wound her up to the nines, made her act crazy, which is self-evident if you scour the YouTubes. You'll see people acting in bizarre fashions. You will see it. I mean, I don't know how else to see it. And then the system's gobbled her up. And she's acting so crazy and like, imagine being in the system going, Illuminati, saying all the shit the UK columns filled your head up with and all that. I mean, like, and you can't blame this poor woman. Whatever she's went through. I'm sorry. I don't trust the UK column. In fact, I know they're frauds and liars. But anyway, listening to this case from start to finish, there was like 10 ton of information, and they couldn't boil it down into this is what's happened and why she's here. It was all, well, this is what happened. It was all like long, drawn out, subverted. You couldn't make head nor tail of what was actually going on, and I would say that was by design. So the UK column, whatever this woman's went through, whatever, like, the paedophile shit that she knows about and all that, I would argue that's not why the system's now got an excuse to gobble her up. I'm arguing the UK columns wound this woman up so much that she's in a manic state, scared of people coming to get her, the government coming to slit her. And that's going to make her behave in such a way that the state can just fucking go, oh, here. Mental health and lock her away. So the UK column's actually feeding their madness, in my humble opinion, which isn't fair.
What the British government goes around wrapping other people over the knuckles for, and 3, that the government is hiding behind the Data Protection Act in order to protect interests other than those of law-abiding British subjects. Again, we get to the question of for whom is our government governing. So well done, that viewer, and please, many more people write in the same vein.
Well, this is essential because, as we're going to see in just a few moments, we are really not sure what is happening to Melanie, but reports do not seem good.
But you wanted to highlight an Orwell quote: political language is destined to make lies sound truthful and murder respectable, and to give solidity to pure wind. People who elect corrupt politicians are not victims, but accomplices.
Yes, because of course we like to apply that to, we like to take the politicians to task, but we elect them. It's the quality of the people that determines the politicians in the end, not a popular stance to take in the alternative media to blame the people, but ultimately I'm afraid we do have to. We elect the buffoons like Rory Stewart and the vested interests. And indeed the viewer ended that letter by signing off with the same motto that UK column signed off with: qui tacet considere videtur. Anyone who's silent is considered to be going along with it, to be acquiescing. And of course that can be a finger pointed at the politicians. If you don't reply, then we'll take you as guilty in the matter. But it's also to the people. If we go along with these politicians, then we are acquiescing in their rule, their misrule.
Yes, but in the meantime, the Lord Chief Justice seems to be saying to hell with due process.
This is the laughable Lord Burnett of Malden, who's taken over from Lord John Thomas of Comguieth as the Lord Chief Justice of England and Wales. And here he is talking at the annual Sir Henry Brooke lecture. Shortly after taking post, and he's talking about what Melanie Shaw went through.
Yeah, just caught him talking about British subjects.
But he's talking about video hearings and saying the extent to which video hearings will be used in all jurisdictions, because the UK has several jurisdictions for foreign viewers, will be a matter for judges to determine, applying the rules and practice directions. Those are the real killers. The Attorney General puts out political practice directions, and so on.
Sorry, I'm going to skip through a lot of this.
Fully supports the original testimony that Melanie Shaw gave to the UK column, because in it, aside from her own abuse in
trying to highlight the fact that in British cities trees are being felled unnecessarily and in huge numbers. Now I say unnecessarily, many people suggesting with quite strong evidence that the reason the trees are being felled is to make way for 5G wireless networks, because the trees get in the way of the signal. They have to come down. We've seen this here in Plymouth, and in fact there seems to be more moves towards felling more trees here as well. But Sheffield has been taking the lead in this in terms of the publicity. although I understand that Sheffield is not the worst case. Well, today we'll be glad to know that Michael Gove has announced a tree champion. Here he is, William Worsley, the new tree champion. He's going to expand England's woodland, so it's exactly as I thought.
Mad, he's crazy, he's geistesgestört, he's not right in the head, and of course because Walzel's other interest is selling beer, he's in a beer cabal, I think. He's saying beer, beer, drink more beer, and on screen is his psychiatrische Berichte, his psychological reports, which he writes hundreds of a year, putting away political prisoners and acid-stripping victims. So
the UK column reporting on the Austrian internal politics. But hey, it's all good because there's a populist rise in Austria.
He's on screen.
Right, just incredible, isn't it?
Barclays, letters going back.
Sorry, that the receiver.
And that's the end of the UK column. Sorry I didn't have more time to go into that, but I rattled on a wee bit too much at points. Thanks for joining, everybody, as always. I'll say hi to everybody in the chat. Drop a link for the hangout if anybody wants to join in the afternoon. And I'm going to go and do something a wee bit more productive in the afternoon one. I'll all make sure you thumbs it up, share it with your friends and family, and even foes. Try and help the show grow, because I rely on you guys at home. There's a Patreon and PayPal buttons down below. If you get any value from the stuff I do, there's a Patreon and PayPal buttons. It's digital busking, everything's available and accessible free of charge. I hope to do such a good job that you will find some value in it and throw in some spare change, not your life savings. It's all very much appreciated, and a mega thanks to everybody that does. All other links for social media and stuff down below as well. Make sure you check that all out. I'll be back here again tomorrow at 1 for another World Info War News at 1. But hey, football's kicking off tomorrow, man, so hey, be like a 30-second show. Alan, how you doing, my man? Wait a wee 1 second and I'll get the hang out. Get the hang out. So I'll share this link. If anybody wants to join and they can't get the link or whatever, McVicker, if you want to join or anything, mate, you text me or Skype me or something, mate. Apparently I can invite you and stuff. So if anybody, I've got Skype details and stuff, if anybody does want to join, hit me up on that and I'm sure we can get you in somehow, some way. Or if that fails, it will just turn into stuff. Sure, just do a Skype chat or something. That's equally as a valid a method as this Google Hangouts. Google Hangouts don't obviously fucking want you using Google Hangouts for whatever fucking reason, so fuck them in the ass. In the afternoon, Stewie, Charlotte, Cheech, Roberto, McVicker, Alex Jones, the designer show. In the afternoon, guys and girls, thanks for joining. Cheech, how you doing, my man? Roberto, Flying Irish, how you doing, buddy? Stewie, in the afternoon, gents. The artist formerly known as Tony, how you doing, my man? Did I drop the link for the hangout? If I didn't, I did now. Roberto Carlos, Stephen, how you doing, Stephen? Scottish Ross was in as well. How you doing, my man? In the afternoon, on and all. Alex, the artist formerly known as Tony. In the afternoon, Chinny 18, Cheech, Chinny. And Alex Jones, the real Alex Jones, I'm sure. I no worries, Alan, mate. I'm just saying, I know you can't get one for your phone anymore, so if you're having any problems or whatever, hit me up and I'll try and sort it out. So thanks for joining, everybody. I shall catch you back here tomorrow, and anybody wanting to participate in the hangout, the link is above. And there it is again. Alrighty, YouTubes, have a good one. Catchies.
Clips.